mics. Oh my god, we're gonna have audio.
Yeah, it's not like we didn't record this once without audio. It's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 2 of Rican's Top 10. Joining me today and probably forevermore is my number one choice for a tag team partner. Big Sly TV in the building. What's going on, brother?
I mean, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. And the words, similar words, to one of the greatest tag team wrestlers of all time. This isn't a one-time show that he's doing. At this point, it's a two-time, two-time show on YouTube.
I got the
What's up?
reference. I get that reference this time.
This
Slide.
time, I don't know what you're talking about. This is totally the first time we're recording this. We've never had technical difficulties in our life.
Oh, wait till you see the actual beginning of this episode.
Oh, I thought we were professionals.
No, we are professionals. We're professional casters that you can find us on the internet. Sly, where can they find you?
They can find me anywhere on the internet at Big Sly TV, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, whatever the link is / Big Sly TV.
Awesome. Let's so full disclosure, this isn't the first time we're recording this. We absolutely had episode already done up, and somebody, not gonna name names, it wasn't Sly, but it is somebody on your screen right now. It wasn't Sly though. Didn't actually get any audio on there. So we're gonna use take 2, which is a fitting number because we're talking about tag teams today, Sly.
Tag teams. So I got something for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is perfect that we're talking about tag teams today, and you had some technical difficulties. Because those technical difficulties make me the Hurricane, and you the superhero in training.
Big facts, dude.
Because man, you the
man. Can we say that on YouTube?
I don't know. That's why I bleeped it. I just until I could get to my button,
Man, you know what? That's a tag team I didn't even think about the first time, let alone this time. I think we have a new addition to the honorable mentions section. But let's get right. Let's get right. That's another one. Let's get right into this with number 10 for me. And Sly, I mean, again, you're gonna know the list. We went over it already. But coming in at number 10, I gotta show some love to TNA. We're gonna be talking about their best, in my opinion, the best tag team to come out of TNA. We're talking about Beer Money Inc., James Storm, and Bobby Roode. So
okay, so I can make an argument. That you're wrong. They're not the best tag team to come out of TNA because they've never come out of TNA. Only Bobby Roode did.
You know what? That's a fair point.
The best tag team to come out of TNA is on another promotion, and we call them SCU. That's Kazarian and the Fallen Angel, Christopher Daniels.
That's a fair point. I'll give you that. They never actually left TNA, but they were, I would argue, the 2 biggest homegrown talents outside of AJ Styles from TNA.
Oh my god, you gonna put disrespect on the name of Samoa Joe?
I mean, there's no disrespect to Samoa Joe. I just prefer Beer Money to him.
You think they're bigger homegrown talents than Samoa? Don't get me wrong.
Listen,
Bobby Roode is a great athlete. He is, need you say, glorious. James Storm may be the most underrated wrestler in the history of professional wrestling outside of maybe Dolph Ziggler.
Call back to last week.
But put some respect on Samoa Joe's name. He is the second biggest homegrown talent coming out of TNA.
If I can say one thing in my defense, I consider Samoa Joe more homegrown to Ring of Honor than TNA. In my defense.
I don't know if I don't.
That's fair. Listen, it's fair. It's fair. But
hey, Ring of Honor, sure, I can maybe make that argument. But
we're talking tag teams. No disrespect to Joe, but we have here the 5-time TNA World Tag Team Champs in front of us. Not to mention the countless numbers of achievements individually that they have attained after separating. They come in a little bit of a surprise pick, and there's going to be one noticeable lack of a team appearance on my list that we'll get to a little bit later in the honorable mentions. But I just feel TNA doesn't get enough respect. Beer Money doesn't get enough respect.
So what is it with Bobby Roode getting paired with underrated superstars? When he was in TNA, he was with James Storms because nobody took James Storm seriously. Mm-hmm. In WWE, he was with Dolph Ziggler because nobody takes Dolph Ziggler. He is the guy that, like, oh, we have this amazing talent that we don't know what to do with and we don't really care for, so we're gonna put him with Bobby Roode.
I think it's just the workmanship that he has, just his overall. I mean, Bobby Roode. I would argue Bobby Roode is very underrated, especially in this WWE run. I mean, he's not being properly utilized, in my opinion. I think he's a dynamite athlete and superstar wrestler. Just doesn't, for whatever reason, just doesn't get the ball. You know what I mean?
This isn't a wrestling show. This is a top 10 show. So we won't always do wrestling, but I think when we do talk about wrestling, you're going to hear those words a lot.
Yeah.
WWE not knowing what to do with their talent, underutilizing their talent, being lost with their talent.
Big facts, dude. Big facts. I mean, years and years and years and years and years and years. So, but yeah, Beer Money comes in at number 10. Just a little bit of a soft spot for me for TNA. I'm not the biggest TNA mark, but what they did and just kind of how I gravitated to them, they make my top 10 list.
I can see that. That's a good top 10 non-mainstream.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, it does knock off a team that many would probably suspect I'd have on my list. We'll find out who.
The Shining Stars?
Yes. No Savio Vega in this list.
No Savio
Vegas. But at number 9, what we do have, we go for Beer Money, which you need when you go to the bar. And when you go to the bar and you get into fights, you need some protection, don't you? Not that. We're not talking about that bar.
Oh, it's not that bar?
No, we're talking about the literal bar. And you're going to need some protection when you go to the bar. And what better tag team to protect you than the Acolyte Protection Agency? Farouk and Bradshaw. Coming in at number 9. No,
man,
you don't.
That's a good pick. They were great as a tag team, but I can never get over Bradshaw going from this hairy moaf with, bad abilities to whatever the hell he was after that.
Look at that hair, guys. Look at that hair on Bradshaw. Look at it. Stare into it.
What happened? He went from a long-haired son of a gun to a balding stock exchange agent.
he went from a Texan to a member of Wall Street overnight, literally.
Yeah, like what the hell? Come on.
He also eventually became the template for John Cena's haircut, but we can talk about that a later day.
Hey.
No, so here's the thing about the APA, right? So they couple of badass MFers, right? I don't have the beat button like
you just let me know. I hit it for you. Just let me know.
Fair. But 3-time WWE champs, right? A series of amazing skits. I always love their backstage skits where they were in the bar and stuff would just pop off and random stuff. And I think that you mentioned it with Bradshaw, but that heel turn when he turned on Farouk was just, I mean, it was beautiful. I've to that point not really remember a time where a character did such a 180 in such a quick span. Wait, you seem like you got something in your mind.
I don't remember a time when another character did such a 180 and such a man.
Hogan, leg drop.
There's another tag team that did it.
Possibly.
They're probably on your list.
Possibly. We'll see.
I mean, who else breaks glass
I don't know. We'll see. We
like
will
that.
find out. We will find out later. But yeah,
The glass. I'm obviously not talking about like a window in a barber shop or anything. I'm talking about that glass ceiling
the metaphorical ceiling.
that Bradshaw shot through when he had his heel turn and went solo.
But it was always great. I love the APA. I love the APA.
I don't know anybody else who had a 180 like
Listen,
that.
okay, we get it. Look, okay.
Oh.
In recent memory, how about that? In recent memory. Speaking of recent memory, this is a memory from the distant past at this point. Two of the greatest superstars of all time. Sly and I both have a, let's say, lack of fondness when current day wrestling storylines involve just throwing two people together for a tag team. But this one was very successful.
There's one thrown together tag team that I really enjoy, but you know, you might have to catch another video to know that one.
Well, we'll see. Link in the description below. But this one coming in at number 8, the Macho Man, Randy Savage, a notable omission from my top 10 list last week. And the man with the 20-inch pythons. The Hulkster. Hogan. The Mega Powers. Listen, say what you want about Hogan now, and he is an unrepentant asshole, and I absolutely cannot stand the man himself.
Hey.
Go ahead.
I was a Lakers fan. I'm all about understanding that we can be fans of an athlete without fans of their, you know, at-home persona. I'm a Cowboys fan. I know all about being fans of performance on the field and not necessarily liking who they are off. I can understand putting him on your top 10 list. But really? Like this was a top 10 tag team.
This was a top 10 for me. This was a top 10 mainly because you had Macho Man Randy Savage, once again a pioneer of the WWE underutilizing their talent, and Hulk Hogan, the epitome of the WWE overexposing their talent, coming together, and at the time the top 2 baby faces in the company forming this tag team. And then the story that came out of it, Macho's heel turn, which, I mean, personally for me, I loved him even more after the fact. Right?
Was Macho? So sorry,
No, you're good.
I'm super young for this stuff, but I remember. I have faint glimpses of memories of like the Dungeon of Doom with Kevin Sullivan versus Hulk Hogan. Was Macho Man with Hulk at that time?
Oh, shoot.
Were the Mega Powers together at that time?
You're putting me on the spot. No. I believe the Dungeon of Doom was in the WCW days.
It was WCW.
Yeah, no,
sure.
The Mega Powers was WWE. This was all leading up to, man, I'm gonna be wrong as shit. And if I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments below and correct me, because I am not afraid to be corrected. I believe this led to their match at WrestleMania 5 for the then WWF Championship.
Yeah, this was way before Dungeons of Doom. Yeah, Dungeon of Doom.
But basically, the whole story was as you know, as the Mega Powers continued to win and build up, Hogan started developing a relationship with Miss Elizabeth. With everyone knows how Macho Man was very protective of Miss Elizabeth, and then that fed that jealousy, and then it bled over into more and more reality based, and eventually that led to the split between the tag teams. But at the time, that was a novel concept, bringing in real world implications, right, to the story itself. And again, top 2 baby faces, arguably 1 and 1A, depending on the fan that you talk to, when it comes to remembering characters in WWE history. And then you take into account all of their accolades as single competitors. I mean, there was a reason why they were called the Mega Powers.
Yeah, I mean, I can respect it. Macho Man made my top 10 list of all time. Hulk did not. But yeah, I can respect it. What was that?
Overexposure. That's why Hulk didn't make anybody's top 10.
Yeah, but I can respect it as a push into the top 10.
Yeah.
I think you have it at a decent spot too. It's not low in your top 10. It's pretty up there.
Yeah, and I feel a lot of wrestling fans my age would kind of savvy and understand the pick there, but
Ah,
yeah.
Almost like Savio.
Maybe they see this coming. But you know who didn't see this coming?
John Cena.
Was Marty Jannetty going through the damn glass window on the barbershop.
See, I understand why I was wrong, because I can't see John Cena coming. John Cena can see. Yeah, no, John Cena probably saw the barbershop scene coming.
John Cena absolutely saw the barbershop coming, but Marty Jannetty didn't see that kick coming. Coming in at number 7, though.
Glass ceiling.
That is how you literally break through the metaphorical glass in the WWE, by taking your partner and super kicking them through a glass window.
You know, we were running with jokes on this just now.
Yeah.
But if you really think about it, HBK to Marty Jannetty, Stone Cold Brian Pillman, Bradshaw Farouk, Seth Rollins in the Shield,
Big Sly and Rican.
There is a statement to be made. If you are the one to turn first on your teammate, you rocket on your back straight.
Yeah. I mean, there's that. And then, little fun fact as I was preparing for the list. Did you know the Rockers never actually won a WWE or F tag team championship together?
You know, I don't remember the Rockers doing much of anything together.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, they're former AWA, NWA, and AWA South tag team champions, but they've never actually officially recognized won a WWE tag team championship. But yeah, I mean, their lasting legacy, we joke about it, is the barbershop scene. It is Shawn Michaels getting the rocket strapped to his back, right? And I mean, it's to the point where anytime you have a tag team, you're constantly looking out who's the Jannetty, who's the Michaels. Or in the case of Big Cass and Enzo Amore, they're both the Jannettys.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they're coming in at number 7. What do you?
Or in the case of, a team that you might talk about later, a couple teams you might talk about later, they're the Michaels. They're both the Michaels.
They're both the Michaels. And yeah. But then you have that, right? You have the ones that are who's the Jannetty, who's the Michaels. And then you have teams that no matter what individually the competitors accomplish in their careers, you're always going to remember them as a unit, as a team. And I think there's no better example of this than definitely one of the greatest tag teams in the last 30 years. Arguably, probably one of the top 5, and they just miss out on my top 5 tag teams of all time. It's coming in at number 6. The boys from Dudleyville, the Dudley Boyz. Devon and Bubba Bully Ray. What do you think?
I think it's a good thing that top 10 lists are all opinionated, because we're talking about how many belts have the Dudleys won as a tag team?
I got it for you right here.
It's something. Wait, it's something like 23, 24.
So
around the world.
So there's probably more than this, but this is the bigger quote unquote federations.
Yeah.
And so I have 4 listed here. They're an 8-time ECW tag team champion.
Okay.
They're a 2-time IWGP New Japan tag team champion.
Yeah.
They're a 3-time TNA tag team champion.
Yeah.
And between the WWF, WWE, and WCW, they're a 10-time tag team champion. So I have 20 listed. Is that 20?
That's actually 23.
18? That's 20. No, that's more than that. Yeah, 23.
That's 23.
Yeah, 23. So
right at what I said.
Right at what you said. There you go. So yeah, you're right. But yeah, so again, opinionated, right? This is obviously opinionated, and arguably they belong higher, and I would not question that. This is all just kind of my preference. Yeah.
You know, I think they could belong higher than that, but I think the issue with putting them higher than that is, you're a little bit older than me. You remember some of the older guys that I didn't. I know I watched and I remember watching them, but I don't remember the feelings that I had watching them because I was just so young.
Yeah.
Uh, but and I assume that these other teams are on your list, probably somewhere close. Uh, but I think they can. The thing that makes it hard for them to go higher is so much of their career is going to be tied to two other tag teams.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, we can get right into number 5 with that. I mean, you got the Dudleys, right? You got the Dudleys coming in at number 6, right? Whoops, that's not right. Hold on. We're working on it. We're working on it. So you got the Dudleys that came in at number 6, and then coming in at number 5 for me is, like you said, one of those probably 2 tag teams that you're talking about. You got the Hardy Boys coming in at number 5, right?
Yeah.
So again, another tag team that arguably might belong a little higher on some other lists, and that's fine. This is all subjective, right?
Yeah.
One-time Ring of Honor champion, 2-time TNA champions, 9-time WWE champions, right? Innovators in their field. Innovators. But again, another tag team that's tied to 2 tag teams. And I'm going to go ahead and bring up the other tag team here. Coming in at number 4 is Edge and Christian.
I got 3 letters for you.
What are those 3 letters?
TLC.
I have one word repeated 3 times for you. Yes. 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 Innovators. An entire match was created because of the influence from the Dudley Boyz with their table spots, the Hardy Boyz with their ladder spots, and Edge and Christian with their chair spots. And these 3 teams, I mean, honestly, again, they can fit anywhere on the list. But I think it would be an insult to tag team history if either of the 3 were left off any top 10 list.
I agree. And I think the same thing that helps them, that says you have to put them on the list, is the same thing that might keep them from being the top of the list.
Yeah.
Right? Because tell me a tag team match the Dudley Boyz were in that you vividly remember that didn't have Edge and Christian or the Hardys.
That's rough, dude. I can't. I can't.
Now go the other way. Tell me Edge and Christian that didn't have one of the other 2 tag teams.
I mean, yeah, no, for all 3 of them, I can't.
They were all in so many great matches. Dudleys have been in TNA. They've Hardy Boys weren't in TNA when the Dudleys were doing their, one of them was, but not both of them.
Yep.
Edge and Christian weren't in TNA when the Dudleys were doing. One of them was.
Yeah.
But not. Dudleys had a lot of great matches in TNA.
Sorry. I get kind of sentimental on of Christian in TNA. I did really enjoy Captain Charisma.
I love Captain Charisma.
but so again, this is all a matter of personal opinion, and Edge and Christian narrow the other 2 out mainly for a little fun fact about me. At my wedding, we did our walkouts, like the whole wedding party did our walkouts to different wrestlers, entrances and stuff like that. So like my in-laws, when they walked down together at the reception, they walked into No Chance, Vince McMahon Corporation. I believe I had my best man and the matron of honor. They walked out and did the New Age Outlaw intro. But dude, for the benefits of those with flash photography, my wife and I came out to Edge and Christian. I pulled out a couple of sunglasses from my jacket pocket and we did our 5-second poses for the crowd, and it was great.
That's amazing. Now, the walkout. So I'm a single guy. I didn't have to go through all the wedding planning stuff. Mm-hmm. That's when you're leaving the stage, right? After the wedding.
So that no. The walkout
you walked out with her?
So we walk out of the church together, and our walkout song was her walk-in song, which was wish is a dream. A dream is a wish is a heart. A dream is a wish your heart makes. But the walkout song at the reception, that's the one that we walk in together, and that's where they presenting for the very first time, Mr. and Mrs. Rican. You know, that's
the only thing that would seal you as more of a wrestling fan in my mind.
Go ahead.
And make your wedding story even better would be if you told me that Kisa walked to the chapel, like walked to you and the pastor, to the Undertaker's chimes, slow walked the whole way. It took her 20 minutes like it did Undertaker at WrestleMania 31.
So my mom may or may not be a little bit on the sicker side, and we may or may not had her come out to the Undertaker theme song to keep her being able to walk very nice and patiently and slow. I can neither confirm or deny that. But yeah, so Edge and Christian, they hold a little more sentimental spot for me, and so they just narrow out the other two.
Yeah, makes sense.
Coming in at number 3. We kind of mentioned it. We kind of talked about it a little bit. You know, we talked about betraying your tag team partner, getting a rocket strapped to the back. We talked about a glass breaking, so to speak. And that brings me to Steve Austin, Brian Pillman, the Hollywood Blondes. Two phenomenal wrestlers in their prime. A lot of people forget how much of a technician Steve Austin was in his younger days. You know, early in his career.
All the injuries and
before he was very limited. He was a dynamite, just catch can wrestler. And then Brian Pillman had every single tool in the toolbox. I mean, if he was a prospect for the MLB, he was a 5-tool prospect. He had everything. He had the look. He had the skills. He had the talk. He had it all. And this team was amazing together. They only won 2 championships. They're former NWA and WCW champions. But their time was rather short-lived. But in that short amount of time, I mean, I just, and again, I wasn't a WCW guy. I had to watch the Hollywood Blondes. They were that first time I really got those young up-and-comers, like, ooh, I got to follow these guys. They're going to be amazing in their career. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's just another idea of how WWE can quickly ruin a career and potentially a life with the certain segments that they've pushed on people. Man, Brian Pillman was never the same after his time in WWE.
He wasn't.
And luckily we have Brian Pillman Jr. And the Varsity Blondes carrying on his dad's name. And just like you said, Brian Pillman he was an all-star. He had everything you could want. I think Brian Pillman Jr. has everything you could want too. I think he takes right up where his dad left off. So I'm excited to see where that career goes.
No, I agree. It is a shame what happened to Brian Pillman Sr. I'm glad his son is able to carry on the name and the legacy. It's terrible what happens in the WWE, right? Exactly what you said. It's terrible how they treat their wrestlers. I was fortunate enough to be able to watch them, watch Pillman when I was younger and got to enjoy that time. So it just leaves a lasting moment, and all the best to Pillman Jr. in his future. Like I said, I'm really excited to watch how he grows.
Yeah.
So, little hard transition, but we're gonna get right into number 2, and I think it's about time for you, Sly, to hit me with an intro, if you please.
La 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 la. Okay, we got it.
You got it?
We got it.
All right.
Oh, you didn't know? Yo ass better call somebody.
New Age Outlaws coming in at number 2.
Oh boy.
So these are Sly's boys. These are the one for him, right? And they just miss out on my number 1 spot. But the New Age Outlaws, they were cool. They were the epitome of cool. And look at that picture. Look at that picture and tell me the Road Dogg isn't just the coolest dude on the block right now. All right? Like I mean, 6-time WWE Tag Team Champions, whatever. Their biggest impact is what Sly just delivered to you.
100%. They were the kind of cool that doesn't have to worry about their image, which we talk a little bit about in my top 10 tag teams. They didn't have to worry about, there are some tag teams, there are some people in wrestling who are so cool because they protect their image with, the greatest legal team and the greatest, there are certain guys who, are big names who just refuse to lose to anybody.
Backstage politicking.
They hit them with the 5 moves of doom. If there's just so much, BS backstage and image protecting. And the New Age Outlaws were dick jokes and
pushing legends off the stage.
It could never be done in today's world. But who's ever going to forget the Road Dogg Jesse James coming out like D'Lo Brown? Anybody who watched that is going to remember. And that wasn't cool because it looked cool. It wasn't cool because his image was protect. It was cool because he was just funny as hell and didn't care what everybody thought about him doing it.
Never gonna happen this day and age.
Never gonna happen in this day and age. Nor should it. It probably shouldn't have happened.
It shouldn't have happened back then.
Age.
We were joking about it, but it shouldn't have happened back then.
It shouldn't have happened then, but it did, and that was the kind of, that was the kind of just nonchalant humor that anybody associated with DX had.
Yeah. That very edgy, definitely past the line humor.
Yeah.
But again, their impact on the division in general.
Yeah.
And at the time they were the tag team of the WWE. And then all of those hijinks, that's how they got hooked up to the Generation X. I mean, the first real memory I have of the two of them is when they had Mick Foley and Terry Funk in the dumpster and just fucking pushed the dumpster right off the stage. That's just what it was back then.
Driving a tank to WCW.
WCW wants a war.
The best part about that whole story is years later getting to look back on it with the people that were there and knowing that Kevin Nash and Scott Hall were just on the other side of those doors, like talking through the door to all the members of DX, laughing about it, trying to get people to open the doors
and let them come in.
Let them come in. WCW might still be around if they opened the doors and let them come in.
Hey, who knows? Who knows what would have happened with the Invasion storyline? But before we get to my number 1 pick, my number 1 on the top 10 list, let's go over some honorable mentions. Some people who just missed my list. People who definitely need to be shouted out. One of them, mentioned Kevin Nash. The Outsiders are actually not on my list at all, which is, I'm a huge Scott Hall mark. So you would think Hall and Nash would be there, but they're not. The Wild Samoans didn't make an appearance on my list. arguably one of the best tag teams coming from that legendary family as well. Not on my list. Rock and Sock Connection didn't make the list. Two-man power trip, Steve Austin and Triple H didn't make the list. Brothers of Destruction didn't make the list. All great tag teams. But when I think of tag team wrestling, when I think back through all my years as a fan of wrestling in general, there's one team that stands above. Just one. There's one team that stands head and spike shoulders above every other team on this list.
Oh God, I'm glad you said spike shoulders. You said head, and I thought Al Snow.
I was not thinking of Al Snow and Head as a great tag team. No. One team that stands head and spike shoulders above every other tag team. The team that, for all intents and purposes, put tag team wrestling on the modern map. The team that generations of wrestlers have fashioned themselves after. The Road Warriors, Legion of Doom. The name alone, I think, speaks for itself. Their accolades across the world, just like the Dudleys. They haven't won as many championships as the Dudleys, but their impact is greater than what the Dudleys.
Tell me that the Dudleys aren't inspired by what they saw with the Road Warriors.
Exactly. When you think about it,
probably wouldn't happen without the Road Warriors.
Let's think about it. The 3D, the Dudleys' famous tag team finisher. It's just a modified Doomsday device.
Yeah.
You got one guy on top of the one partner's shoulder. You got the other guy coming down on him with like a stunner type move. Whereas the Doomsday, you got the one guy on top, and then the flying clothesline from the top rope.
Yeah,
it's just a modified Doomsday. So their impact on the lineage of tag team is second to none. They didn't have the success that they had in WCW when they came over to the WWE, but not many did because, again, like we talked about a few times throughout this list, the failure on WWE's part. But when you think tag teams, you think of the Road Warriors first and foremost, and there's no other place I could have had them on this list except number one.
Yeah, they didn't make my number one. I'll tell you that right up. They did make my list, but I was way too young to remember them in their prime. But there is one tag team that I'm super surprised didn't get mentioned.
Who's that?
Little brother duo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Booker T and Stevie Ray.
Yeah.
I expected, knowing the type of wrestlers that you enjoy more, I expected them to get a little bit of a nudge on it.
Yeah, I didn't even mention them in my honorable mentions. I completely blanked on them. I think that goes back to a little bit of the WCW bias that I have. Booker T for me.
He's King Booker.
He's not King Booker. I remember him coming in and feuding with The Rock with the bookend. That's just the WCW bias in me. But Harlem Heat, you're right. Harlem Heat was a great tag team in the stage. Just subjective list, but I feel like you may have them on yours. And I guess we're going to have to check out Big Sly TV's list of top 10 favorite tag team wrestlers to find out who his number one is, which you can find, once again, in the description below. And, that's gonna do it for this episode of Top 10. You guys, I hope you find whoever your tag team partner is. And may they be the Jannetty to your Michaels. Just like Sly's my Michaels. Bye, y'all.